So the Richard Padron group has been in the making, has been developing since I was in Miami, playing trio gigs with my childhood friends, some of which are Leo Brooks. I remember Armando Gola and Rodolfo Zuniga with the drummer, and we would play together all the time at these different little cafes, the Globe, and there was Books and Books and Café Demetrio, and so back then I was just starting to write music. So then I moved to New York, and I already had about an album's worth of music, but it was all I really wasn't trying to incorporate anything from my heritage, which now in retrospect was a great mistake. But of course, you learn from mistakes and you move on. So for whatever reason, which I would imagine is maybe a common thing, I was trying to, even though I didn't grow up with the music and I never really studied it, I was trying to get away from having my music be stylistically labeled as coming from Cuban music or my heritage. So I wanted it to be more ambiguous. And then through the natural course of things, I started being exposed to different Cuban musicians. And through that process, I learned that what I wrote down on paper is undeniably coming from my heritage, whether I like it or not. So I didn't really see that because I was looking at it from a different filter. So sometimes when you change your perspective, you can see things much clearer. And so once I realized that, one of my best friends, Ono Mulet, he said, man, why don't you call Roman Diaz? Also one of my really good friends. Roman recorded most of the percussion, all the bata drums and some bells and congas on our debut record, and he's been playing shows with us. Now currently I have a pool of musicians because everyone is so busy. Roman is very busy, and it's impossible to get the same people to do the same gigs all the time. So now I'm trying to involve many different musicians that are interested in the project. Luckily, there isn't a shortage of people that are interested in the project. People like it, which is great. I'm very grateful for that. So through Roman, I learned that the melodies and structures could easily be blended with all this percussion that is coming from a very folkloric place, and all of a sudden the music, I saw it, from a different perspective, and it started becoming something that I never even thought could be possible. So that's a little bit of insight into the process and how it got to be something that is no longer fusion, American fusion, almost Pat Metheny trio style stuff, or almost Alan Holdsworth-ish, but without the distortion and without the keyboard, because I've always wanted to do trio without piano. I feel like the space is very important, and I feel that piano and guitar together, even though with the right pianist it can work really well, but for the orchestral paradigm that I'm trying to set up, I want there to be more space so that the rhythm, there's a percussionist, and then there's a drummer playing a timba style drum set with bells, and maybe even ideally with a timbal. And Kenny Grahowski is the drummer on the album, and he's one of the most incredible drummers in the world. Also one of my best friends, and he's extremely diverse. He grew up playing salsa. His grandfather is one of the greatest Puerto Rican salsa stars, Bobby Cruz. So he has, growing up in Miami, went to the same high school. He has a lot of these influences, and he understands the style of drumming that I like. In addition to that, most of the music was written with him in mind to begin with. So he has really been an instrumental player in the development of the music. I mean, there's a list of musicians that have really gone and have helped me throughout the years and to develop the music. But currently, the lineup is if Kenny's in town, it's Kenny. If not, it's either Pablo Bencid on drums, which is an incredible drummer, one of my favorite drummers. And if Roman is in town, I'll call Roman. But lately, I've been calling either Mauricio Herrera, which is actually the first guy that I approached to play percussion in the band, but he's also very busy. So unfortunately, the people that I play with are, in my opinion, are some of the best musicians in the world, and of course they're going to be extremely busy and in demand. But I'm very fortunate to have these people in rotation or in some type of orbit, at least. You know, that they're key figures, and they've left their imprint in the project, which I'm very grateful for. So Richard Padron Group is actually it could be shortened to an acronym, which would be RPG. But I know that's a bit confusing because it's also role-playing games. So if you look up RPG, then you'll get role-playing games or something else. But I think it's something that can work as a shorter version, because Richard Padron Group can be a mouthful. And the reason why I wanted to make it Richard Padron Group, to use my name, is because I'm also doing so many things outside of my band, and I have to use my name for that, obviously. I'm not going to come up with a different name. So instead of coming up with a band name, I thought it would be more effective for marketing and to just streamline the internet, Google AdWords, whatever it is, when you type something in and you tag it, it's always my name. So when you type in my name, I'm the first one that comes up. You know, and then you just have a bunch of stuff. And I think it's much more effective.